Carrie's having lunch with the ladies, and she shares with them that her and Aiden exchanged the keys to the apartment. Oof! Charlotte is impressed. It's a big move.
You exchanged keys? That's big. Oh, no. That's the opposite of big.
What now? I guess Carrie can't live without comparing everything to big. And the exchange of the keys actually turned out to be a great choice, because when Carrie comes back home, Aiden is already there preparing dinner, fajitas. She is so excited that she immediately starts grouping him.
What you doing back there, Lady Bird?
She wants to get physical ASAP, and Carrie's wish is Aiden's command. I'm gonna be a little bit picky here. To me, it looked a little bit sus. You come home and you are so excited that your man is preparing you dinner that you immediately want to have sex with him. I don't know, it seems a little bit surface level, a little bit too physical rather than anything else. But now it's time for work. Carrie is behind her computer, writing for her column, and Aiden approaches her, gives her a little kiss. She's a little bit shy about the article, so she kind of puts her hands on the laptop and boom, the document crashes.
Oh my God.
This is serious, people, and Carrie is losing it. She is very, very stressed. And Aiden tries to help, as a supportive boyfriend. There's a little trick you do with the computer.
Breathe and reboot.
How many times did you do the reset button on your desktop, the box? Never. Honestly, I still do it today sometimes. It does hurt because I know it's not correct, but it is the fastest way. The computer shuts down. Aiden is a little bit shook. It usually works for his computer. Carrie is upset. She cannot believe it. And we all know what she's thinking. It's Aiden's fault, okay? That's how it is. When things go down, you have one mission and one focus only. You look for who's the guilty one. Is that just me? Oh well, I need to work on things.
Aiden, please just stop touching it. Stop it. Because you don't know what you're doing. Just stop.
Here's the thing. Obviously, Carrie is not handling this the best way, right? She's a little bit snappy towards Aiden. On the other hand, you can kind of understand it. Like, the bitch is stressed. But it does also show that Carrie doesn't really trust Aiden's help. Aiden actually being someone she would turn to when she is in need. It looks like she's more annoyed at Aiden trying to help her than anything else. And it does not stop there. You see, when they're at the place, to get her computer fixed, they're in the waiting room, and because she is obviously anxious and stressed, Aiden tries to give some relaxation time, I guess. He starts to massage her neck, and she is just annoyed. Like, this is not the time.
Can you please not do that?
And I'm gonna be honest, I was totally with Carrie. Look, I'm also the type of person, when I am stressed, the last thing, and let's say I don't really know how to calm down, the last thing I need is to have another thing that is, interfere or being almost an additional burden to what I'm already going through. How do you feel about this? Let me know. How would you react? Do you feel like, oh yeah, this is relaxing me? Or do you feel like I'm gonna cut your hands off? Aiden himself is not really happy about how Carrie is acting. And honestly, I don't like it. Like, I get how he's like, oh my God, she's rejecting everything I'm trying to do. But it's almost like he has one vision of how he should help Carrie, and he doesn't really put any effort to understand how could he help her. Like, he just goes into it. And then he's upset when that's not the help or the support that she actually needs. Now, Carrie also, instead of being rude, she could have said, babe, I'm so sorry. I know you're trying to help, but this is not helping. This is making me even more anxious or even more stressed. Like, that would also help. But maybe in that moment, you're just like fuming. It's their turn, and the service guy is kind of asking what happened. And this was such a funny scene, and also like, in a way, also very relatable. I am 100% sure that each and every one of us has found themselves in this position when you almost you don't want to blame the other person, but you're also kind of like, but it is your fault.
It's mine, but then he did something to it. Tell him what you did to it.
Aiden says that, the control delete thing usually works. It works for his computer. But the service guy is like, well, that works for PCs, not laptops.
You PC user? Yeah, you're not compatible.
I guess the writers are trying to tell us something. Carrie looks at Aiden with that typical, it's your fault. You know that. I'm telling you, I was cracking up this whole scene. Aiden is also trying to make a little bit of light of this situation because I guess that's his go-to, don't worry type of thing. When you shouldn't have that approach when the other person is clearly worrying. Like, I don't know why do we think that if someone is stressed, what helps is to tell them, don't be stressed. I know I shouldn't be stressed, but here I am, stressed. What helps, in my personal opinion, is to acknowledge that this person is stressed, is to acknowledge that, yes, this situation sucks, but let's think about what can we do about it, right? Don't try to convince me it's not a big deal because it clearly is. So let's stay in that zone. So when Aiden makes a little joke about the situation, Carrie is even more pissed.
Is this funny? Do you think that this is funny?
No, just trying to,
You are mortifying me.
Now, of course, she's taking it to the next level, but also it happens to the best of us. The guy asked Carrie when was the last time she backed up her work. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt called out, okay? I never back up my work, and it's gonna come after me one day. I know it, but we'll deal with it then. And Aiden is like, you don't back up your stuff? Like, Carrie is like, shut the fuck up. And I totally feel for her. I'm sorry, I'm laughing so much because this whole scene was so hilarious and, again, so relatable. They need to leave the computer there, right? It's going to take a couple of days for them to check it out and try to recover whatever was lost. Carrie calls Miranda to tell her about the situation, which, again, interesting, right? She calls her friend to talk about what just happened while her boyfriend is right there. That to me was a bit, Carrie doesn't really let Aiden to actually be there for her or to feel the trust or the confidence to lean into Aiden to lean to Aiden when she is in stress, let's say. Now Miranda obviously has the same question. Didn't she back up her stuff?
No one talks about backing up, but apparently everybody's secretly running home at night and backing up their work.
If you haven't watched the show, you should watch it for this episode only. Like, this was comedy gold. On the serious note, Miranda is actually at the hospital. Her mom had a heart attack and she had to rush there to Philadelphia. Now, the next morning, Carrie gets a call from Miranda and her mom actually passed away. Carrie is very upset. I mean, Carrie is clearly, sympathizing with Miranda. And as much as Miranda is saying that she's fine when Carrie asks her if she can help in some way, it is clear that Miranda is not fine. But she just doesn't know how to ask for help, or she does not know how to admit that she's not okay, right? Because she's clearly stressed while saying, I'm fine, I'm fine.
What can I do?
Nothing. I'm fine. I'll be fine.
In this moment, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little bit upset with Carrie because Carrie was like, should I come? I can take the next train. And while Miranda was saying that she doesn't have to, while clearly she is not being fine, Carrie almost accepts it, right? Carrie is like, okay, well, let me know if you need something, which I would expect that she would immediately go and help Miranda or be there for Miranda. But I guess sometimes maybe we as people also take the easy way out. Instead of Carrie doing the hard part, she maybe feels uncomfortable in some way about doing that. And because Miranda offers her easy way out, Carrie is also like, okay, I'm not gonna come, right? I would expect her to pack her things and go to Miranda. Like her mom passed, Miranda is alone there, and you still rather decide to stay at home and only go there when the funeral happens. To me, that was again a sign of how Carrie sometimes just fails as a friend, you know? Like this is such a clear opportunity for her to go there and help and be there for Miranda, and yet she doesn't do it. I don't know. How did you feel about this whole situation? And the thing is, it even progresses. So before getting to that, Aiden is actually with Carrie when she gets the news, and she tells Aiden about it, but then she goes to the bathroom, and we can see that Carrie wants to be left alone. And when Aiden even asks her when is the funeral, that he wants to go there, like go with her, Carrie lies. She says that she doesn't know. And we see that Carrie is actually really struggling to let Aiden close or to accept Aiden's support. It's almost like she needs to go to the bathroom where, as I talked into the substance, bathroom is usually this private place when you almost want to be alone, when you want to be just away from everyone else, and it's almost this vulnerable place. So we could say that Carrie in this moment feels very vulnerable and she wants to be alone in the bathroom, despite there being a person with whom she should, did I use whom correctly there? The person where she should get that comfort from when she is vulnerable. So it shows again that this relationship, it's not really where they think they are or where they kind of should be. If you compare it to the previous episodes, how Carrie wanted for the two of them together, how Aiden accepted that she cannot cut Big out. It is a little bit mismatched, let's say. But on the other hand, it almost shows the reality of it, because Carrie at the beginning was at this high of needing to prove herself to Aiden and get him back. But then when the reality kicks in, when he is actually there, she is not ready. She's not comfortable to also be there with him. Like she wants to keep this at a surface level. In my opinion, again, because getting back with him was all about how she can feel better about it, not actually wanting a partnership with Aiden. But coming back to how she acts as a friend, so she meets with Samantha and Charlotte, and she is visibly distressed, right? Almost like this sick looking makeup, and she's going through it type of thing. And she tells Samantha and Charlotte about what happened, right? That Miranda's mom passed away. And tell me why suddenly Carrie is the victim here.
But I just kept saying all the wrong things, I think.
No.
To her.
No, I'm sure you didn't. Oh.
Thanks, I'm sorry.
Like Carrie is the one that is so upset by this thing, and both Samantha and Charlotte just go to comfort Carrie, right? And I'm like, bitch, Miranda is the one that's suffering. And instead of going to her, now you're almost taking the spot of being the poor me. Like I was so confused. Like this did not sit well with me. She even says that she knows that Miranda is not okay and that she's just pretending to be okay and how she's all alone there. And yet she doesn't go to visit Miranda. Like I was so confused by this storyline and this, what? I genuinely don't understand what was the point of all of this. The only thing that I'm trying to kind of get out of it is that maybe they're trying to show how Carrie, her relationship with supporting, on one hand, receiving the support from Aiden, like true vulnerable emotional support, versus also giving that support. Maybe they're trying to show how Carrie actually struggles with both. I don't know. What do you think? Carrie is back at home and Aiden has a surprise for her.
Surprise! It's your new computer.
Whoa. It's blue.
Carrie is not the happiest. She's not ecstatic about the new computer, which I most definitely would be. Like, I would be like, oh my God, I cannot believe it that you're actually helping me by buying me a new computer. Like, I would be so happy and I would feel so seen and supported because clearly I need a computer and I don't have the money for it. So you help me with that, right? But Carrie does not see it that way. Carrie is, first of all, on the surface level, upset that it's not really her style. It's blue. But then it progresses. You see, when Aiden also shows her that he bought an extra drive, external drive where she can back up things, that makes Carrie even more upset. What? Is he trying to tell her that her systems don't work? Systems that she had for years, now suddenly what? It's not working? Aiden is a bit confused. Like, you're not happy that I bought you a new computer? Like, how can you not be appreciative of this? But that's the thing. Carrie is not ready for a new computer.
I'm not ready for a new computer. I'm still waiting to hear back about my old one. My whole life was on that computer.
So how I see it is that there is a clear disconnect between Aiden and Carrie, or better, the understanding of one another. While Carrie is struggling with letting go of this old computer because she attaches her identity and her life to it, right? This is an emotional struggle. Aiden, on the other hand, is trying to meet her and support her in a physical way, let's say, as a solution type thing, rather than acknowledging her emotional attachment to this old computer. Now, when it comes to the whole old computer, new computer thing, I see it as a metaphor for two things. One thing could be her relationship with Big versus her relationship with Aiden. Almost as, the old computer is the representation of the old ways of love that she was maybe used to, or Big himself, versus the new computer being her relationship with Aiden. And she's struggling to let go of the past to actually lean into the future. On the other hand, it could also be the representation of herself. The old computer is the old ways in which Carrie approached relationship. So I mentioned it a couple of times, how there is this emotional disconnect between the two of them, and how it seems that Carrie is loving Aiden almost as a separate thing from who she is. Like, she is herself on her own, and she is in touch with her emotions and vulnerable self, and she takes care of shit by herself or with her friends, while Aiden is just like this add-on to her life. The relationship is just the thing that you need to have, right? And the old computer could be referencing to the fact that these are fundamental old ways that Carrie should let go if she would actually want to have a good relationship with Aiden. She needs to be the new Carrie, aka she needs to connect with him in new ways, in more deeper ways, actually being with him. Which one do you think it's like more? Is it about Big, him being the old thing, or is it about Carrie having her old ways of not really connecting with someone? Now, this whole reaction from Carrie and the computer makes Aiden upset. Like, he has had it.
I get it. It's all you. I'm not a part of any of this. You don't want the laptop. You don't want me to go to the funeral. I feel like a fucking...
I gave you my keys. What more do you want?
And Aiden is like, keys? Oh yeah, so I can come in and out of your front door. But the problem is, how can I actually get in here? And he points at her, her heart.
How do I get into there? Huh?
Carrie tries to apologize, right? She says that she's sorry. And the thing is that she's always been used to taking care of herself.
You may not like it, but this is how I deal with things.
It is the last attempt of him trying to get close to Carrie. It is clear that she does not want to let him in. And until she figures this shit out, like, he just, he's gonna leave her alone.
You can do whatever you want with that computer. Right? And,
Now, why does Carrie even feel like she gave already so much by giving the keys to the apartment, or almost using this as a proof that she does let him in? So what is his problem, right? And I think this ties into, or this is a consequence of milestones, or the importance of milestones, where the physical act means more than how you are actually connecting with someone. In this case, Carrie giving him the keys of her apartment, it should be considered as this big step, right? Even Charlotte said it, like, wow, you are really progressing this relationship. But the reality is that that's just a facade. That's just the image. Because when it comes to actually connecting with Aiden, she's not letting him in. And this is a real thing. When people are using these big milestones to make you think that they are in it with you or that they are closer to you, when in reality, they're as distant as they were before they gave you the keys, right? And all of this to me just shows again how Carrie loves the idea, or she believes that the fact that she is the chosen one is the only thing that matters versus what it actually takes to have a good partnership and a good relationship. Even with Big, did we ever see them actually connecting, being vulnerable with one another? Or all that we've seen so far, it's just this surface push and pull, and the sex is great, and everything is perfect, but then the drama and the one, and it's this something that is pulling us together, but there's no substance to it in reality. And now being with Aiden, that is even more visible. Now, despite that, when it comes to Aiden, first of all, it makes total sense how he is reacting, because from his perspective, he's been trying so many times to get close to her or to support her, right? And she always pushes him back, that he just reached his point. He's just like, you know what? I have no idea what you want. It's clear that you don't want me, and I'm just gonna walk away right now, right? Rather than, again, recognizing that he himself is not really trying to figure out or trying to actually connect with Carrie and understand her and understand how could he be of support. He has his own idea of how things should be. And if that is not something that Carrie actually reciprocates, it's because Carrie is being rude. Carrie is being distant. And I'm not saying that Carrie is not being that, but I'm just trying to point out how also Aiden is not supporting the situation. He's also looking at this on a surface level rather than actually being vulnerable with Carrie and telling her, look, I don't really know how to help you right now, but can you let me know? Or what would make you feel better? And then go from there. So they are both like distant, like the bed that we talked at in the first half. This emotional distance that is actually between the two of them. And I talked about it before, the importance of how do you actually support the other person when they're dealing with something, instead of letting the person deal it on their own, aka Aiden telling Carrie, it's her problem that you're not letting me in. He could have tried to understand how could he be of support of her feeling more comfortable of letting him in. I think it also makes it easier to actually understand if you can move forward and pass it, and you can understand the willingness, the openness, the ability to adapt, which is also needed in a relationship to some degree with this person. The most common thing, and actually the thing that is like the least efficient or beneficial, is in this case, Aiden was upset, he left Carrie, and now Carrie would just feel bad that she acted like that with him, and she would focus on how she needs to apologize to Aiden and acknowledge her mistakes, and that would be the solution. But in reality, it again isn't the solution, because you're not really trying to understand where is this coming from and work on that. It's all very, oh, I just had a bad day type of thing, right? That's why I reacted this way. Fixing the surface level, but not addressing what is actually driving that. We see Carrie back at the repair computer place, and her old hard drive is destroyed.
There it was, my past. It was a mess.
And this, I checked it, okay? I checked what was written on that computer. So I'm gonna read it, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit, I guess. For Brooklyn lovers, nothing was more satisfying than seeing the man that you love. I looked around at the right place, in the wrong time. Sexually satisfying, even for the frustrated amongst us. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Big. Was it fate? Forever watching for signs and signals pointing us in the wrong direction. Is there ever the right time to know? Maybe I'd never know. But is that the kind of information that passes between friends? Maybe some things are better left unsaid. And what are the rules for long term? And then, the document kind of doesn't continue. So this also confirms the theory that maybe this old new computer, simultaneously being about old and new Carrie, or how she approaches relationship, is about her relationship with Big and her love life with Big, and how almost she needs to let that go if she actually wants to be better in the relationship with Aiden, or actually have a better relationship for herself. I think it's also almost showing how she is actually bringing maybe the emotional baggage that she had with Big into this relationship with Aiden. She never felt comfortable. Maybe we could even say that she never felt comfortable with being emotionally vulnerable with Big because he would hurt her. So now she doesn't really know how to also let Aiden in, because subconsciously she's afraid she's gonna get hurt again. We see Carrie back at home and she is ready to go to the funeral. And as she is about to go out, we can see her that she is kind of struggling. She is potentially thinking about Aiden and how things went down. So she calls him and she apologizes. She says that it's kind of hard for her to get into it with Aiden or let someone else help her. And Aiden acknowledges it. And he also says that they will run into hard things.
This is hard.
We're going to run into stuff that's hard. That's why I was trying to help.
Well, I know.
Carrie knows that. And that's the thing. The thing is that if she actually allows him to help her and she gets used to him helping her, what happens when he's not there?
No good can come of that. I mean, then what happens when, you're not around one day?
Where am I going?
Well, I don't know.
And then they make some kind of joke about it, and that's it. Just like that. I mean, if conversations and coming back together would be so easy, there would be much more relationships that would actually be healthy. The thing is that that's not all it, okay? Now, in an ideal world, we would think, or in a real world, we would like to see how they are actually addressing this problem and moving forward, rather than just agreeing on it that this is hard and that's it. Again, just surface level partnership, I guess. I really think that this whole thing of sorry, I acknowledge it, kind of messed us up, thinking that that's the only thing you need. As long as you say sorry, as long as you recognize that that's all we need and we can move forward. Neglecting the fact that, no, that's the first step. But now you need to also understand how to actually overcome this thing, okay? How to actually not let it happen next time, or be more of understanding of what actually happened so you know how to show up for one another in the future, okay? Don't let the movies fool you and TV shows fool you. There is more than just, I'm sorry, I understand. They are at the funeral and we see the girls together, Charlotte, Samantha, and Carrie, while Miranda is obviously at the front with her family. And I'm not gonna lie, I also cried a couple of times. Like the situation with Miranda and her mom, and how Cynthia Nixon, oh my God, I don't know how this woman does it. Like these scenes when it comes to this grief with her mom and the crying, like every time they showed her, I was like, my tears just went down. Like I was literally there with her. That's how it felt. Like it's a really powerful episode.
My sister and her husband want me to third wheel with them down the aisle. God forbid that I should walk it alone, because that would be the real tragedy, right? Ignore the coffin. There's a single 35-year-old woman walking behind it. Miranda? Coming, Betsy.
Now, when it's time to walk out of the church, as Miranda is walking down and she is alone, in that moment, Carrie decides to join her and be with her on this walk. And that was a good moment. Maybe even a moment of growth for Carrie, because like I said before, to me, all the actions she did before didn't seem very supportive to Miranda. So maybe the whole thing came to an end where she recognized that not only it is okay to let other people help you, it also reflects into how she can also help Miranda. And as they're walking down the aisle, in the crowd, there's also Aiden and Steve. And there is this sense of, Miranda and Carrie supporting each other and being self-sufficient, but at the same time knowing that there are also other people there who support them and who they can lean on whenever they need. I think that was the message of the whole episode. Let me know, what did you think about this whole thing? Was this one of your favorite episodes even? And what did this episode teach you about Carrie and Aiden, and in general, how they approach relationships? And remember, trust your individuality.